And you can't create a new future holding on to the emotions of the past. So then, would you agree with me? The moment you become conscious of your unconscious thoughts, the moment you become aware of your automatic habits and behaviors, the moment you observe those emotions that bring you to a lower denominator every day in your life, the moment you're becoming conscious of what you've been unconscious to, because 95% of who you are by the time you're 35 years old is a set of memorized behaviors, emotional reactions, beliefs, perceptions, and attitudes that function like a subconscious computer program. That the moment you become conscious of what you've been unconscious to, now you're ready to change? Come on. And if you can observe those states of mind and body, it means you are no longer the program. You are the consciousness observing the program, and you begin to objectify your subjective self, because for the first time you are looking at yourself through the eyes of someone else. And because of the size of the frontal lobe, 40% of your entire brain, the crowning achievement of the human being, the latest piece of neurological machinery, the fact that you can pay attention to those states of mind and body means you could modify who you are to do a better job in life, and that's called neuroplasticity. And so then, here's the old self, and here's the new self, and you got to cross a river. And the hardest part about change is not making the same choice as you did the day before. And if a habit is a redundant set of automatic, unconscious thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that's acquired through frequent repetition, a habit is when you've done something so many times that your body now knows how to do it better than your brain. Would you agree then that the moment you decide to no longer complain, make excuses, feel sorry for yourself, talk about your best friend, judge your coworker, the moment you decide to do something differently and make a different choice, you just stepped into that river. And it's going to feel uncomfortable. Get ready is going to feel unfamiliar. There is going to be some uncertainty, and there's going to be some unpredictability. And some people would rather hold on to their guilt than step into the unknown. Some people would rather be unworthy and suffering than take a chance in possibility. And the moment you decide to make a different choice, the body, which has been conditioned emotionally to be the mind, wants to return back to familiar territory. And it starts sending signals back to the brain, and you just said, I'm no longer going to be a victim today. And the first 2 hours goes really well. But the body, which has been conditioned to be the mind, the servant is now the master. It starts sending signals back to the brain. And you know what it says? Why don't you start tomorrow? Tomorrow's a better day. I really can't do this, it's too hard. It's my ex-husband's fault. It's my father's fault. This doesn't feel right. And that's the body sending signals back to the brain, causing you to think in the past. And if you respond to that thought as if it's true, that thought will lead to the same choice, which will lead to the same behavior, which will create the same experience, which will produce the same emotion, and then you'll say, this feels right. No, it feels familiar. Crossing that river from the old self to the new self is the neurological, the biological, the chemical, the hormonal, genetic death of the old self. And people who step into that void, who step into that unknown, will say to me, Dr. Joe, I'm in the unknown. I can't predict my future. And I'll tell them the best way to predict your future is to create it. Not from the known, but from the unknown. And that place, unknown, is the field of potentials called the quantum field. What thoughts do you want to fire and wire in your brain? What behaviors will you demonstrate in one day, one lifetime? And what if you were to rehearse those behaviors in your mind before you started your day? The latest research in neuroscience shows that you can change your brain just by thinking differently, which means now your brain is no longer a record of the past. It is now, in fact, a map to the future. Because as you rehearse and plan your behaviors and review them in your mind, you begin to install the neurological hardware in your brain to look like the event has already occurred. Now, great people like you, common people like you, are doing the uncommon. And they are not waiting for their healing to feel wholeness. They are not waiting for their success to feel empowerment. They're not waiting for their new relationship to feel love, or their new job to feel gratitude, or their wealth to feel abundance, or the mystical moment to feel awe. That's the old model of reality of cause and effect. Waiting for something outside of you to change how you feel inside of you, to give you relief. The moment you feel better inside of you, you begin to pay attention to whoever or whatever caused it. And that event creates a memory, and that's Newtonian physics, the physics of predictability. But the quantum model of reality is about causing an effect, which means when you're in awe, you're going to have a mystical experience. When you feel empowered, you are going to create success. When you feel whole and satisfied with who you are, there will be a healing. When you feel so worthy and so abundant, you know your wealth is coming. And when you're in love with your life, in love with yourself, you will create an equal. And when you get up from your meditation or your internal practice in a state of gratitude, your body, as the unconscious mind, already accepts, believes, and surrenders to that outcome, and that job will come. And that's causing an effect in your life. And there isn't a person in this room that is so special to be excluded from that phenomenon. And the hardest part of all of this is making the time to do it. So then here's my question. Can you believe in a future that you can't see or experience with your senses yet, but you've thought about enough times in your mind that your brain is literally changed to look like the experience has already occurred? Latest research in neuroscience says it's possible. And can you fall in love with a future potential that already exists in the quantum field? And how many potentials exist in the quantum field? A few. Hello. Poke the person next to you. Come on, poke them. Can you fall in love with the future potential that already exists in the quantum field, so much so that your body, as the unconscious mind, is believing it's living in that future reality in the present moment, and you're signaling new genes in new ways to change your body to look like the event has already occurred? Latest research in epigenetics says it's absolutely possible. Now think about this. You're geniuses, right? If there's physical evidence in your brain and body to look like the event has already occurred, relax, because the event is going to find you. And it's going to come in a way that you least expect. Why? Because if you can expect it, it's nothing new. It's got to rock your world. It's got to catch you off guard, and it has to leave no doubt that what you did inside of you produced some effect outside of you. And when you can correlate the changes you made inside of you with the effect you produced outside of you, you're going to pay attention to what you did, and you're going to do it again. And when that experience lands in your lap and surprises you, and by the way, the brain learns by mistakes and surprises. Which would you like a few of? When that event catches you off guard and it lands in your lap and finds you, the joy and the excitement and the awe and the wonder and the freedom and the inspiration that's created, the energy of those emotions are going to inspire you to want to create again and again and again. And you will look back at your entire past and you won't want to change anything in your past because it brought you to that present moment. And that's the moment the past no longer exists. Are you with me? So then, most people, you say to them, why are you so angry? Why are you so afraid? Why are you so judgmental? Why are you so bitter? What do you think they normally say? I am this way because of this event that happened to me 35 years ago. And from a biological standpoint, it means I haven't changed in 35 years. Are you with me? So then, Scientific American, a prestigious magazine, says that 50% of what you talk about in your past isn't even true. They call it creative memory. And if your brain is organized to reflect everything you know in your life, your brain is a record of the past. It's an artifact of everything you've learned and experienced to this moment. Would you agree with me then? The moment you search for the familiar feeling called you, and those emotions are driving your thoughts, you are going to be predictable in your life. Because those thoughts will lead to the same behaviors, and those behaviors will create the same experiences, all to reaffirm the familiar feeling called you. And people get caught in these loops. They have experiences in their life that brand them emotionally. And there's a refractory period of chemicals that creates a change biologically in the body. And if you don't know how to control your emotional reactions, and you allow those emotions to linger for hours or days, you know what that's called? That's called a mood. What's wrong with you? I'm in a mood. Really? Here it comes. What happened? Well, I had this experience 9 days ago, and I'm having one long emotional reaction. And you keep that same refractory period going on for weeks or months. That's called a temperament. What's up with him? I don't know. Let's ask him. Why is he so bitter? Why are you so bitter? Well, I had this thing happen to me 7 months ago. I got fired from my job, and I'm memorizing my emotional reaction. And you keep that same refractory period going on for years on end. That's called the personality. And people wear their emotions on their sleeve, and they think that's who they are. So then, in order for a person to truly change, the question is, are you going to be defined by the memories of the past biologically, Or are you going to be defined by a vision of the future? Because if you're waking up every single morning, what does everybody do now when they wake up in the morning? What's the first thing they do? Come on. Jennifer's eating carbohydrates again. It's on Facebook. Oh my God, my high school boyfriend's looking for me. I remember him from 11th grade. He was kind of cute. You check your WhatsApp, you check your text, you check your Facebook, you tweet, you Twitter, you check your Instagram, your Pinterest, then you check the news, and now you're ready to start the day. Because it's no longer that your personality is creating your personal reality. Now it's your personality is being affected by your personality.